Okay, hi, this is Tommy, and I'm going to read you this 22nd chapter of Baby Colette's. My username is God Sent an Angel, so, okay, well, I'm gonna start at the beginning of the chapter. So, the trio arrived at the studio where the conference was to be held, with 2 hours until the interviews began. They were rushed into the large, nondescript building into where the minimalist lobby where they were greeted by their escorts. Hello, my name is Haley, and I will be showing you around today. A sweet-looking girl in a knee-length dress said, holding her hand out to Danny. Hi, Danny blushed and shyly took the girl's proffered hand. I'm Danny, but I'm sure you know that. So what am I supposed to do? I'm utterly clueless with all of this. She was surprised at the girl's flawless English. Haley spoke better English than she did. Well, that is quite all right. We aren't all professionals at first. Right, boys? Haley asked, flashing a smile in Tom's direction. Tom was startled by the girl's question. She was a sweet-looking thing. Nope. It's always hard the first few times. He smiled at Danny and touched her cheek with his hand. It'll do fine. Tom and Bill were escorted away to wardrobe and makeup, leaving Danny and Haley standing in the lobby. Danny took a steady breath. So, what should I expect? Nothing extravagant, just a few hair specialists are going to do your hair and makeup. If you would follow me this way, Haley asked, lightly touching Danny's arm and leading her in the opposite direction of the boys, noticing how Danny was staring after them. Danny was followed by Haley as she led across the large, mostly empty lobby, through a door into the hub of all of the new studio's main hall. Excuse me. She led her into a brightly lit room that was obviously used for hairstyling. There was a tall man at the back of the room mixing something by the sink. Jared is going to touch up your hair color and cut your hair a bit. Tell him how short. Is that all right? Haley introduced Danny with the hairstylist with a flourish of her hand. Okay, Danny trailed off as she was gently pushed into the room. The man turned around to greet her, but stopped when he caught sight of her hair. Oh shit, I thought you were a brunette, he stated alonquity. Sorry, can't pronounce that word. But in such an endearing way that it didn't bother Danny too much. Oh, I have naturally black hair, but I dyed it to help hide from the press. If you don't mind, could you take me back to black? Hold on, I'm gonna move the screen for a second. Danny figured it wouldn't hurt too much to ask, seeing as he was there to make her look better, and she always did feel her best when she was her natural color. Welcome back to Viva Music with your host, Chelsea. Oh, I can't pronounce her last name. The narrator's voice boomed across the packed auditorium where the interview with the Colette's twins was about to begin. First of all, boys, thank you for coming here today. How are you? Chelsea smiled kindly at the boys. Bill could tell instantly that she was different from the last interviewer. I'm good, thanks, Tom muttered. Good, Bill smiled. Glad to hear it, Chelsea enthused. I hear you have a special guest staying with you. Is that true? Sorry, I'm a complete and total douchebag. Excuse me, once again. Yes, actually, Bill smiled and shifted in his seat. We have a very special guest staying with us. She's been here for 3 days now. Tom, would you like to introduce her? Bill turned to his twin, a happy smile shining in his eyes. Within 40 minutes, Danny was back to having black hair, and Jared was in the process of trimming it back into its former bob. When he was called for Haley again, who took Danny down to makeup, and finally wardrobe, where Danny felt more like a demented child's Barbie doll than a human being. She was soon dressed to the nines in a white Empire waistline summer dress that fell to just below her knees, showing off her legs. Danny was slightly upset that the high heels hurt her feet too much, and almost didn't give them up, but she was often an adorable pair of flats that she couldn't refuse. Somehow, the 2 hours had flown by before Danny could catch her breath, and she was ushered into the set with the mic taped under the back of her dress, the wire fed up behind her back and into her ear, where she noticed that the boys were already out in the set. They were sitting on a comfy-looking couch when Danny heard Tom call her name. It was stuck out clearly in the German sentence. The twins turned to look at her, and Tom's eyes nearly popped out of his head. But Bill only smiled and patted the space between him and his brother. So, Danny, I'm going to start out with a few simple questions. I understand that this is your first actual TV interview, correct? Chell smiled and waited as Danny made herself comfortable. She spoke in almost perfect English, and once again Danny was surprised as the rest of the show continued in English. Yes, Danny replied, shifting slightly. She was uncomfortable as her twins were awake and unfortunately kicking. All right, well, tell us, how are you enjoying your stay in Germany? It's nice. I've only been here a few days, so I'm still getting used to it all. You have no idea how happy I am that this interview is in English. The twins were still kicking, so Danny grabbed Tom's hand, forgetting the cameras, and put it on her belly, right where a small foot embedded her skin. Tom looked up at her. His eyes were wide once more. Tom's heart nearly flew form in his chest, and he could feel the little movements under his hand. One definitely felt like it could be a foot or something. He could hardly keep himself from smiling like a fool. Instead, he let his eyes sparkle and absently played with his lip ring. He looked across to Danny. She wasn't looking at him, but at Chels. She was very known in the entertainment world for being the dream interviewer. David had finally done something right. So, Tom, how does it feel? Chels smiling, asked with a large smile spreading across her elegant face. Being a father? Truthfully, I'm not used to it. Not at all. I'm a little unsure of what kind of a parent I'll make, but I'm really happy that Danny decided to let me know. He smiled, keeping his hand where it was on her rounded belly. Chels laughed. Well, I'm glad to hear that, but I meant, how does the kicking feel? Tom blushed very lightly. It's amazing, he enthused, speaking quickly. He turned to Danny and flashed her his winning smile before twisting his hand around to grab hers, which had lain atop his on her belly. Chels then turned her questioning to Bill. What does it feel like to be the uncle of twins? She said, trying hard to keep her gaze on the younger twin, but unable to keep her eyes away from the loving scene of the couple. It's mesmerizing. Tom isn't the only one who is glad she got a hold of us. The trip over to Canada to meet her the first time was nerve-wracking. But once I saw her, I can honestly say that I prefer Danny over most of the girls he has been with, Bill concluded, smiling at his brother and Danny. Danny, there is now a rumor circulating that your twins are identical. Is that true? Chels asked with a large, friendly smile adorning her face. Yes, Danny answered simply as she ducked her head, trying to hide her blush. So we have heard the rumors surrounding you three, or should I say 5. Okay, I have to end this here because I have like 13 seconds left. Okay,